the Great British Manufacturing Podcast, brought to you by MTD, MFG and Jefferson.
Hello and welcome to the Great British Manufacturing Podcast. On this week's automotive special, we will discuss this week's positive news from the British manufacturing sector, review news from the automotive sector over the past month, and welcome a special guest from British electric vehicle manufacturer Arrival, the VP of Product, Patrick Bion. My name is Joe Reynolds, and joining me as always is my co-host Stuart Whitehead. Stuart, welcome.
Morning, Joe. Good to have you back.
Yep, thank you very much. Let's crack on with what's happened in the news this week. CMR Surgical announced plans to build a new factory.
Yeah, very good news. Global surgical robotics firm's new production facility will enable upscale manufacturing processes to meet the increased global demand for its pioneering Versius surgical robotics system, now established as a valuable surgical tool in a number of hospitals across Europe, India, Australia and the Middle East. The new facility will span 75,000 or just over 75,000 square feet, house up to 200 skilled employees initially, and they're from production, quality, manufacturing, engineering and so forth. The site will be located in Ely, close to the company's headquarters in Cambridge.
Yeah, and the next one, Liberty Steel, set to reopen its Rotherham plant. Obviously good news. Liberty Steel, they can't stay out the news for too long, can they? But this is obviously good news. Yeah,
I think this is going to be a developing story. So they've secured a £50 million cash injection, which the company says will safeguard 660 jobs at its plant in Rotherham. The deal is part of a wider restructure of GFG Alliance, Liberty's owner, which was forced to seek funding when its key lender, Greenskill Capital, collapsed. GFG Alliance said the cash would allow the Rotherham plant to reopen this month after being closed since the spring.
And the next one, we talk a lot about reshoring, nearshoring, don't we? Jaguar Land Rover, they've bought their tool manufacturing back in-house, but they've got one step further, haven't they? So they're not just bringing it into the UK supply chain, they're actually going to do it themselves.
Absolutely. So Britain's biggest car maker, JLR, has started manufacturing his own press tools in-house for the first time, as he said, following a £1.7 million investment at its Halewood plant. The company previously outsourced the production of its press tools. I believe they were imported from Asia. So the company is saying this will allow it to drive efficiency and quality, as well as give employees the opportunity to learn new skills. The investment involves the installation of a new press die manufacturing centre, the first of its kind in JLR, with a state-of-the-art 5-axis milling machine, which manufactures press tools known as blanking dies from raw castings. The blanking dies are the first stage in the manufacture of car body panels during new vehicle production. And just an overview of Halewood, more than £750 million has been invested in the plant in recent years, including £250 million for the Range Rover Evoque, the fastest selling Land Rover model of all time, and £200 million for the Discovery Sport.
Yeah, no, it's a plant I used to go to many moons ago, before both of those platforms were being built there. But yeah, no, it's great to see all that investment. Another plant I used to visit regularly, actually, Ford Dagenham. That's our next story. They're celebrating its 90th anniversary.
Yeah, most popular story on the social media platform this week by far. So just over 90 years ago, the first Ford vehicle rolled off the production line at what was then Ford's newest global production facility, Ford Dagenham. 9 decades later, with nearly 11 million cars, trucks and tractors built during 71 years of vehicle production and close to 50 million engines produced to date, Dagenham continues to play a major role in Ford's European operations, building the advanced technology diesel engines that power many of Ford's passenger commercial vehicles. And in recent times, the last few months, Ford announced plans to build a new ambulance at the site in partnership with our friends at Benari, and engines for the next generation Ford Transit custom range will be built at the site as well.
Yeah, it's great. It's a huge success story, that plant, because obviously the majority gets exported around the world, don't they? So it's a fantastic UK success story. UKBIC in Coventry, a large recruitment drive there. Obviously, this is a fairly new facility, but there's a big drive already.
Yeah, we covered the official opening a few months ago. So dozens of new jobs being created at the £130 million UK Battery Industrialisation Centre in Coventry. And this is to help fulfil orders from OEMs and developers it is working with. The first of its kind battery production development facility provides a missing link between battery technology, which is pretty promising at lab or prototype scale and successful mass production. So new jobs to the West Midlands, and great to see the advancement of that facility, which is going to be very, very important, I think, for the automotive infrastructure in the UK.
Indeed, yeah. Well, we'll take a short pause here, Stuart, to bring in this week's guest. After the interview, we will review the automotive sector. We've got roughly 10 stories briefly covering all the household names and maybe some companies you're not aware of, but that includes Aston Martin, Moog, Mini, Polestar and Teva. But before that, MTD's Richard Jordan recently caught up with Patrick Bion, who is the VP of Product at British electric vehicle manufacturer Arrival.
Patrick, good to talk to you. First of all, we're standing in front of the Arrival van. This is your baby, isn't it? Tell us about your involvement with this project.
It is, yeah. I've been with Arrival for 4.5 years now, long time, entirely focused on the creation of our zero-emission, affordable commercial vehicles. And we see the first one here today, which comes into production in Q3 of next year, 2022.
And it looks like a van, but it doesn't look like a van.
It's different, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a different van, and with good reason. Commercial vehicles are a very underserved portion of the automotive industry. They have not changed for a long, long time. We're here today, and we see other electric vehicles, but they are vehicles that manufacturers have taken an engine out and tried to fit a battery and a powertrain into it. And that's good. It's good to take a diesel vehicle and make it electric, but it's only doing part of the job. The sustainability, the efficiency, the user experience of this vehicle is just fundamentally very different to an existing commercial vehicle.
So was this designed from the ground up?
It was, yeah, and quite importantly, transitioning away from fossil fuels into electric mobility is so important, and what's important for us at Arrival is to scale that. So we can't just build one vehicle. We can't just build two vehicles. We have to solve all the problems that are going to stop us building a number of different vehicles, cars, buses, vans, and scaling them around the world. And actually we've designed the vehicle and that process together, and that's partly why it looks so different. Its aesthetic and its part breakup is shaped by how we want to build it.
Can you tell us anything about the differences, or are they state secrets?
Well, we function with what we call a microfactory model. So traditional automotive manufacturing build huge, vast manufacturing facilities, almost mini cities, and they do that to churn out hundreds of thousands of the same vehicle. It's a very long development process. You're making very bespoke processes and fixtures and jigs for a limited number of vehicle models. And it takes a long time and a lot of money, a lot of capital investment. So that's a prohibitive process for a new vehicle and for anyone that's trying to bring multiple products around the world. Sustainability is not just about taking an ICE, an internal combustion engine, and making it diesel, and making it electric. We have to rethink the sustainability. So what we want to do, quite fundamentally, to everything we've done, is build products locally to where they're going to be, locally to where they're going to be used, and that's the creation of the microfactory. So it's a very low capital investment process. We have to keep the capital investment low to justify building multiple around the world and to do them quickly.
So tell me about the microfactory that you've got here in the UK.
Yep, that's right. So our first microfactory is here in the UK, not too far from where we are here. It's in Oxfordshire, up in Bicester. And that first facility is going to be producing this vehicle and other lightweight commercial vans starting in Q3 next year, 2022.
And I understand you've already got orders. Was it UPS that have ordered a huge number of these vehicles?
Yeah, we have an increasing number of orders coming in, nearly 60,000 vehicles under LOI. UPS, LeasePlan and others have committed to ordering this product, and it just goes to show their intent of what they can get from this vehicle versus what they can get from other vehicle manufacturers.
So finally, we've been talking about the van, but there are other vehicles under the Arrival umbrella.
There are other Arrival vehicles. As I mentioned, it's really important not just to try and tackle one product. Zero emissions are a problem across the industry and across our economy. We have a bus we're producing. First vehicle's being produced there in America, where there's a huge growing demand for sustainable bus mobility. We have the van here and a number of other van variants, and then we move on to a car targeted at ride share and ride hailing. Really, as part of moving away from fossil fuels, we also need to rethink vehicle ownership quite dramatically.
And will these all have the same distinctive look of the van?
They will, absolutely, yeah. Again, the vehicle here is designed to really rethink the user experience of a commercial van driver.
Well, a great insight into the world of Arrival there, Stuart. That's an incredible UK business, isn't it?
Oh, it certainly is. And every time you pick up the papers, the trade press, they're talking about Arrival, the microfactory concept, which is fascinating. And, great to see them growing so quickly and creating new jobs in the UK.
If you would like to join us on future podcasts, please let us know by emailing podcast@mtdmfg.com. Also, please remember to download the MTD MFG app, which is available from all the usual app stores for both Android and Apple. This app has the latest news, exclusive content, and you should really download it. I know you've got a number of stories relating to the automotive sector, Stuart. Let's start running through them. Maybe we start with Aston Martin.
Yeah, I thought it would be an opportune time just to review what's happened at the last few weeks, and because it's been quite extraordinary, really, in the sector, Joe. So, Aston Martin, they've announced a new £200 million F1 factory in Northamptonshire. The 400,000 square foot campus will be the new home of the Aston Martin's Formula One team, and will house the team's design, manufacturing and marketing resource, as well as the team's first ever wind tunnel and the state-of-the-art simulator. Moke International, you mentioned, quite possibly the most popular story over the last couple of months. So the revived Mini Moke will be built entirely in Britain following a new agreement with manufacturer Fablink Group. Initially, the recreational vehicles were engineered in the UK before final assembly took place in France. So, as I say, people love that story. Bentley Motors investing in the next generation. They've recruited a record 112 apprentices and graduates, the largest intake in the British Mark's 102-year history. Trainees are joining the luxury car maker's 4,000-strong workforce at its plant and crew. Inward investment, Polestar. Sweden's Polestar is to develop its preset model, a new facility in Warwickshire. In the last year, the firm's now 250-strong UK team has more than doubled in size and is set to expand beyond 500 people in the near future. Tiva Trucks. Tiva's British-designed 7.5-ton electric truck will be built in the UK at a new manufacturing plant in the Thames Freeport area, which is expected to create 1,000 jobs, would you believe, by 2023. Another investment story, Fisker has announced plans to open a new engineering centre in the UK. The Fisker Magic Works facility, sounds like something from Disney, all due respect to Fisker, will focus on low-volume, rapid development vehicle programs and bespoke versions of the American electric vehicles manufacturers' models. So halfway through, Joe, so quite a few covered already there.
Yeah, no, it's incredible, isn't it? It's incredible. I always find it just people talk about the demise of the internal combustion engine, and we don't make anything as it is. We're going to make even less, certainly in the automotive sector. But the evidence we're seeing, Stuart, is anything but.
I know, absolutely, and it's just a shame some of these stories they just don't seem to be covered by the mainstream press. And the amount of inward investment and stories that are taking place, week by week. I know that you've covered it a few times, haven't you, on your slot on GB News?
Yeah. I just wish more would follow. It's not, obviously we're concentrating on the automotive sector at this moment in time, but maybe in another week we'll do a different sector. But yeah, just onwards and upwards, really. We just need more people, both mainstream media and also just everyone's personal social media accounts. Let's give UK manufacturing a big push. But is it anything else worth covering?
Yeah, another milestone, this time Toyota. Toyota celebrating 50 years of European vehicle production. Today, the Japanese car manufacturer has invested more than £8.5 billion across its European production sites, including just over £2.5 billion in the UK. UK has the distinction of having been chosen by Toyota for the location for its first European manufacturing centre. So good news for Burneston and Deeside, the engine plant in Deeside, which both opened in 1992, I believe. Another JLR-related story, Defco has expanded its footprint in Liverpool, the opening of a new 176,000 square foot logistics sequencing centre to support JLR. The £5.5 billion investment is expected to create 140 jobs. And finally, back to our favourite region, Joe, we cover every week, the North East. Plans submitted by Nissan's battery partner Envision AESC for a new £450 million gigafactory in Sunderland, which is expected to create and secure more than 1,000 jobs, have been approved. This is scheduled to open in 2024. The battery plant will be built adjacent to the Japanese car maker's North East factory as part of a wider £1 billion investment programme.
Yeah, just incredible, isn't it? Like I was trying to tot up all these jobs as you were going along, and I've lost count. But it's it's we're talking six figures, aren't we? It's well over 100,000 jobs. It's going to be created in the automotive sector alone in the next few years. So it's just astonishing. We need to find these people to start with.
No, absolutely. I think that's a challenge. Certainly with the electric vehicle manufacturers, the battery manufacturers, we were speaking to, on previous podcasts, we've spoken to the likes of British Volt and others. And it is a challenge. They have to look for transferable skills. They're not going to be able to go to an established plant and take experienced people, are they? Because they don't really exist. So, I think going back to my recruitment days, it will be a challenge, but it's not insurmountable.
So that brings the end to this week's Great British Manufacturing Podcast. As always, we don't get time to cover all the latest news and gossip from the industry, so please download the MTD app. Failing that, go to mtdmfg.com. A big thank you to Patrick Bion of Arrival, MTD's very own Richard Jordan. Stuart, thank you to you. But as always, the biggest thank you goes to you guys for listening at home. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.
To the Great British Manufacturing Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a rating and a review. You can find us on Twitter using @MTDMFG and @Jefferson_MFG.